Now, we already discussed how James Harden is a system within himself and elevates this Los Angeles Clippers team with his passing, so if you want to watch that, I'll have it linked below. But as we all know, James Harden has more value than just being a passer, as he can score the ball in creative ways, and when you place him in an offense with two high-level scorers in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, it opens up the floor for him even more. You can see these times where the double totally leaves Harden and guns at Leonard, and with nothing but space and opportunity, James can rise up to drop it in. This type of action can also happen when he leaves it behind for Paul George, and once receiving it, you can see two Pelican defenders lunging out to George, so it's an easy swing to the left for a wide open money ball. When you have three guys on the court at the same time who can all score the ball, opposing teams can't afford to help off, because once you leave a wide open window for James Harden, it's pretty much a warm-up J. The same goes for the other guys as well, but with Harden being the third option as far as scoring, he benefits greatly from the attention PG and Kawhi get. On this play when the Mavericks double Kawhi, Kyrie is forced to leave James and take the task of guarding man. Dwight Powell must tag Zoo, and with Hardaway having no clue that Harden floated all the way to this corner 3, it leaves him uncovered as he rotates up, and bada bing, it's money team. These plays where Harden is left wide open happen pretty often, as defenses tend to be more focused on what other guys are doing on the court. But when you think about it, when you're dealing with a 42% shooter from deep in James Harden, they should actually pay more attention and try not to leave him on an island. That 42% conversion rate comes from him taking 6 threes per game, but when we look at how many of these come from him being open where the closest defender is 4 to 6 feet away, Harden attempts 3 of these and drains them at a 40% rate. Now, don't take that 40% shooting from deep so lightly. When you're putting up 6 a game and draining them like this, it's truly a game changer. So if the Clippers want to use James as a spot-up option, well, they have the flexibility to do so, as Harden can seamlessly go from a scorer off the dribble to then being a guy who can set up shop and snipe the defense from deep. I honestly think that's the most valuable thing you get when having Harden on your team. And no, I'm not talking about his three-point shooting. I'm talking about how adaptable he is to fit whatever the team needs. The Clippers can't 100% all the time have guys sizing up and trying to attack, as that will lead to more stagnated offense, but with them having the option to drive and kick and swing, it really stress tested the defense to see if they can keep up. Now, will Harden always be open like this? Of course not. But what's so great about that is that if James needs to start getting creative to find his shot, then there is nothing the defense can do to stop him from finding that slight opening. Some people may hate me for saying it, but then I'll say you just got recency bias, because James Harden is one of the best tough shot makers in the whole entire NBA. It's times where it seems like the defense is right in his grill and there's no way that Harden is going to make that shot, but with his laser focus and now playing in rhythm, James can rise up and knock it down over anyone. When being guarded this tight, Harden doesn't get sped up whatsoever, as he can deliver that stunt dribble to create the space needed, and although it may not look open, for James, this is just enough. On 4 pull-ups from deep per game, Harden sinks these at a 44% clip, which is honestly ridiculous. There isn't anywhere on the floor that Harden doesn't like to score from, so when you go under the screen leaving this gap between you and Harden, well, even when he's 27 feet away, James is gonna let it fly. I'm not really sure why defenders go under the screen still, as he has proved to be more than a lethal shooter from downtown this season, so if you do allow him to get into that little hop when he gathers, you know the shot is going up and most likely dropping in. Some guys might choose to go under that screen so they aren't crossed over crazily like Reggie Jackson is here, so I mean, hey, I kinda understand. But if you keep letting James get open with no real pressure, well, you're just gonna make things that much easier for him. I feel for the defense because there's a lot of things that come with the task of guarding Harden, especially when he's far out from the basket, because 1, his ability to get to the rim is phenomenal, which we will talk about later. But 2, well, now you're all alone on this deserted island, and with his handle, he can mix defenders up, sending them back home. If you're not careful, then you could easily be caught off guard by the immediate sidestep at the combo, and if you try to get up high to eliminate the amount of area he has to work with, well, you'll be left sliding hard after the vicious cross, and it's just too late to even recover. With many, and I mean many ways to get into these threes, there's one thing that gets Harden to all of his actions the best, and that's his signature size up. When he starts whipping between the legs with the handle while tying in a crossover, this is when you know Harden is deep in his bag. So with him pushing downhill, you start to play the drive. But no sirski, Harden snatches back out of nowhere to knock down his 3-ball off the step back. This size up not only gives Harden the advantage because of the ability to drive or create a shot out of it, but also because the defender is flat-footed left waiting for him to make a move. So with the defense in the palm of his hands, James can always be one step ahead. Watch here, James gets the ISO on Wemby, and rightfully so, he shows the rookie that there's levels to this, and snatches back smoothly after pushing to the rim, and it's straight cash. It's great to see that he can get to his spots on the floor using this size up, and with his elite shooting from deep this season, it opens up the ability to get into that mid-range or all the way to the rim if the defense decides to overplay him. Prime example, Tyrese Halliburton flies out at Harden on the 3-point line, but all this really did was open up that 2-dribble pull-up for the butterball. Some will say, hey, he took away the 3-ball, so it isn't that bad. And yeah, you would be right if James was a poor shooter from the mid-range and couldn't score well inside. But when looking at the numbers, although it's a low amount taken so far, Harden has dropped in 52% of his 25 attempts from the mid-range. And then when getting into the restricted area, Harden is connecting on 66% of his shots, which is a major upgrade from last year's 55%. I'm telling you, last year, he just didn't have that burst or the lift to be able to do what he wanted offensively, but you can see that now he's moving with more intent and in a way more confident manner. I would see Harden be fishing for those fouls more last year and not really focusing on scoring the ball instead, which in turn led to some pretty rough finishing around the rim. But this year, it's a major difference. It's not even that it's all the way different from James's game already, it's just that we haven't seen him score this efficiently in a while, so it's a great sign to see. It all starts with his confidence, as in the open court with no hesitation, when he's left free and uncovered, well, he's gonna light you up from deep. But hey, it doesn't stop there, as it trickles down into his driving also, as when he has his mind on the rim, he can hezzy burst past the defense and then use the double in and outs to get into the defender's body for the and one. By having that bigger 6'6" frame, it allows for James to absorb contact and still go up for the bucket, and this gives him a major boost inside. Say he's faced with a big man right in his route, Harden will go straight chest and shoulders first to initiate the contact, so now with him already squared up, he can seamlessly put up the shot. What's crazy is that Harden not only can battle through that contact, but sometimes he'll even go out of his way to get into the defender's body himself to make sure that they're not even going to be a factor. Hey, people might not see it, but being able to use your body is another way of being creative on the court because it allows you to get to places that weaker players would have never gotten to. Key example right here. This may be light, but when Harden gets right inside the paint, he bumps into the defender knocking him off, but then ties in a Euro step to get even closer to place this off the glass. Trust me, it's not many guys in the league that are just running through a big man's chest like this with no remorse to still go get a bucket inside. But this is just the base of his ability to get inside the paint as the skill level continues to get even more ridiculous. That size up we discussed earlier with his 3-point shooting works greatly with his driving as I had stated, and this is basically a cheat code as Harden can fly right past the defender in a quickness. On all driving layups and dunks this season, Harden has converted 55% of his 45 attempts, and it's not to say that this is some outstanding stat, but when you compare it to his 43% conversion rate last year, it shows you that James is on the correct pace and has improved his finishing drastically. When serving that size up to then shift Tyler Hero out the way, it's the return skill of that burst out that gets him to the rim before the defenders can even catch up. It's constantly a game of tippy toes for the defense as they never know when Harden will snap out that crossover, but you better be ready when he does or else you'll be left looking all out clueless. I stated earlier that he was going in with more aggression and not focusing on drawing the fouls, and on the drive versus the Kings, this is exactly what I mean. You can see when he gets to the free throw line and is met by Sabonis, instead of that lazy rip through, Harden rips through aggressively and is granted an easy one inside. So do you see what I mean? He's showing a different level of confidence and aggressiveness when attacking the basket, and this is what is taking his game to the next level right now. With that floor being way more widespread due to the personnel around him, this is when you see that confidence ooze out in these highlight making plays. And with that level of focus he's playing with, Harden can go up while being smothered and place this high off the glass for the bucket. James Harden is on another level right now and was truly the connector piece that the Clippers were missing. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like before going over to watch the passing of James Harden. I thank you all for your support and I'll see you in the next video.